and had to work hard as a farmer just to survive. She had never seen the glitz and glamour of the big city, but she dreamed of going there. She dreamed of going to the city and living the best life. She would look up at the sky while laying on her family's farm and dream about the city. As she grew older, her desire to visit the city became stronger and stronger. At the age of 15, she met a man from the city, told her all about the magnificent city he came from, and that made her long to visit it even more. The city seemed like a magical place where everyone was rich and happy, and that is exactly what Ada wanted. One day she saw a post on a popular social network. It was a lady looking for an assistant and the pay was high. But the lady also said that she preferred someone from a village who had never been to the city before. When Ada read that post, she jumped up and down in excitement. Finally, an opportunity to go to the city. The only problem was that she knew nothing about the city, and she was afraid of getting lost, or worse, kidnapped. But then she thought to herself, how will I ever have the chance to go to the city if I don't try? So she decided to take the risk. She quickly sent a message to the lady and told her that she was interested in the job. A few hours later, she got a reply, and the lady told her to come over to her house right away. Without wasting any time, Ada quickly packed a small suitcase with some clothes and headed to the bus station. She bought a ticket and boarded the bus. As the bus pulled out of the station, she took a deep breath and closed her eyes, hoping that everything would work out for her. When the bus finally arrived at the city, Ada stepped out feeling both excited and nervous. She had never seen so many people in one place before. There were people everywhere. The streets were filled with cars and motorcycles. There was so much noise coming from everywhere. Ada felt a little bit overwhelmed. But then she remembered why she came here. She had an opportunity to make her dreams come true. She had a chance to be close to all the things that she had always dreamed about. She stopped a man on the street and asked him where the lady lived. The man pointed her in the right direction, and she thanked him and started walking. She walked down several streets until she saw a beautiful mansion. In front of the house stood a lady waiting for someone. Ada quickly approached her and introduced herself. The lady smiled at her and told her that she was glad that she came. Then they got into the car and drove home. When they arrived at the house, Ada's jaw dropped in amazement. It was a huge mansion with beautiful gardens and a big swimming pool. The lady noticed the look on Ada's face and laughed. She told her that she knew that she was amazed by the house, and that was true. Ada had never seen anything like it before. "I'm sure you must be tired from the trip," the lady said, "so let's go inside and talk about your job." They sat down in the living room, and the lady began telling her about what she expected from her. "I need someone who can help me with some personal stuff, like running errands and doing some housework. You'll also be my personal assistant, so I need you to be organized and good with people." Ada listened attentively and promised to do her best. The lady handed her a check and told her that it was for the first month's salary. Ada looked at the check and her eyes widened in surprise. It was for a large amount. She had never seen so much money before. "Thank you," she said, her voice shaking with emotion. "I promise I won't disappoint you." And so Ada began working for the lady. At first it was a little difficult for her, because she was not used to living in a big city. But the lady was patient and helped her adjust. Ada loved working for the lady. She learned a lot from her, and she also enjoyed the luxury lifestyle. For the first time in her life, she could afford to buy all the things that she had always wanted. She could buy clothes, shoes, bags, jewelry, and anything else she desired. She also went out with the lady and her friends, and she had a great time. They went to restaurants, bars, clubs, and parties. Ada had never had so much fun in her life. But as time went on, Ada began to feel uncomfortable. She noticed that the lady's behavior was strange. She often heard the lady talking on the phone in a low voice, and she saw that she was always surrounded by mysterious men. One day, Ada decided to confront the lady and ask her what was going on. The lady looked at her and smiled mysteriously. "You don't need to worry about anything," she said. "Just do your job and stay out of my business." Ada didn't like the way the lady was treating her, but she didn't know what to do about it. Then one night Ada was working late in the kitchen when she heard a knock at the door. She went to answer the door and was shocked to see a group of police officers standing there. "We're here to search the house," one of them said. "Is the lady home?" Ada hesitated for a moment, but then she told them that the lady was in her bedroom. The police officers went upstairs and knocked on the lady's door. She opened the door, and when the police officers saw her, they quickly arrested her. What am I being arrested for? The lady shouted. I don't know anything about any crime. But the police officers ignored her and took her away. Ada was confused and scared. What did the police officers want with the lady? Why were they arresting her? She had so many questions, but no one was there to answer them. In the days that followed, Ada couldn't help but think about the lady and wonder what happened to her. Did she go to jail? Was she released? She didn't know. One afternoon, Ada was at the market buying groceries when she saw a news report on a TV screen. The news was about the arrest of a local businesswoman who was suspected of involvement in a cult. The police officers were still searching for the leader of the cult, but they had managed to arrest several of its members. Ada's blood ran cold when she heard this. She knew that the lady she worked for was involved in a cult. She had seen the strange symbols and rituals in the house. She had heard the chants and prayers in the dead of the night. She had seen the fear and reverence in the eyes of the men who visited the house. Ada was shocked and scared. What should she do now? Should she tell the police what she knew about the cult? But then she thought to herself, what would be the point of that? The police had already arrested several members of the cult. Besides, she was just a lowly maid. Her testimony wouldn't make much of a difference. So Ada decided to keep quiet and move on with her life. She went back to her village and tried to forget about the ordeal. But she couldn't help but feel haunted by the memories. She couldn't sleep at night, and she couldn't concentrate during the day. She was always on edge, waiting for the next shoe to drop. One day, Ada was sitting on her porch when she saw a familiar car driving towards her village. It was the same car she had seen at the lady's house. Her heart skipped a beat, and she quickly hid behind a tree. The car stopped in front of her house, and a man came out of it. It was the same man she had seen at the lady's house. He was one of the cult members who had been arrested. How did he get out of jail, and why was he here? Ada was terrified, but she knew she couldn't hide forever. She had to face her fears and find out what was going on. So she came out from behind the tree and approached the man. Can I help you? She asked, trying to sound calm and confident. The man looked up and his eyes widened in surprise. Oh, it's you, he said. I didn't expect to see you here. What are you doing here? Ada asked, her voice trembling. I came to see you, the man replied. The lady wants to see you again. Ada's blood ran cold. What did the lady want with her? Did she know that Ada saw her being arrested? Was she here to finish the job? Ada was terrified, but she knew she couldn't refuse the lady's request. She had to go see her and find out what was going on. So she agreed to meet the lady, and the man drove her to the city. When they arrived at the lady's house, Ada's worst fears were confirmed. The house was empty and abandoned. The garden was overgrown with weeds, and the pool was filled with stagnant water. The only sign of life was a single candle burning in the bedroom. Ada approached the bed cautiously and saw the lady lying on it. She was pale and weak, but she looked relieved to see Ada. You came, she whispered. I knew you would. Ada hesitated for a moment, but then she sat down on the bed. What do you want from me? She asked. The lady looked up at her and smiled mysteriously. I want you to join my cult, Ada. I want you to become one of us. Ada was shocked. She couldn't believe that the lady was still thinking about recruiting new members, even in her current state. Why would I want to join your cult? Ada asked. What do I get out of it? The lady's smile widened. You get everything, Ada. You get power, money, fame, and immortality. Ada was tempted. She had always wanted power, money, and fame, and immortality was a bonus. But she knew that joining the cult would come at a price. She would have to give up her soul and serve the dark gods of the cult. Are you sure you want to do this, Ada? The lady asked. There's no turning back? Ada hesitated for a moment, but then she nodded. Yes, I'm sure. The lady reached out and took Ada's hand. Then welcome to the cult, Ada. Welcome to my world. Ada's eyes widened in surprise and she screamed as her body began to change. Her skin turned gray and scaly. Her fingers became webbed and her eyes turned red. The lady laughed maniacally as she watched Ada transform into a horrible monster. Now you are mine forever, she said. Now you belong to the cult. Ada struggled to break free, but it was no use. She was trapped in her new body, and the lady's dark magic was too powerful to resist. The lady stood up and walked towards the window. She looked out at the city and smiled evilly. My power is growing, she said. Soon I will rule the world. And that is the end of the story. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next one.